Hello, it's nice having you with us on OGTV News at 8. I am Iyabo Awojola. First, the highlights. Ogun State government wants members of the public over unsolicited financial message. Federal government partially deactivates 72 million telephone lines. Senate extends 2021 budget implementation by 2 months. Plus, Ukraine's President Zelensky addresses UN Security Council. No matter how hard today is, remember, you will never have to do this day again.
Nigeria moves to becoming top fertilizer producer in Africa. For details of these and other business stories, join me on the business segment of the news. My name is Dominic Agbea.
And later on the sports segment of the news, Tiger Woods set to play Masters at Augusta National. These and many more when I return. My name, Hakeem Akitunde. You're welcome.
And now to the details of the news. Telecommunication companies in Nigeria have been ordered by the federal government to block all outgoing calls on unlinked SIM cards. The directive has taken effect from 4th April this year. Ronke Adeyemi in this special report makes an exposition into the importance of SIM card and NIN linkage in tackling insecurity as highlighted by the federal government, among other things. Her report.
In December 2020, the federal government had mandated telecommunication subscribers to link their subscriber identification module, SIM, with their national identification number. Today, there's a total of over 125 million SIM cards have had their NIN submitted for linkage, verification, and authentication, while the NIMC has issued over 78 million NINs. Despite this number, one can't ignore the larger percentage that refuse to participate in the implementation of the NIN SIM linkage, which has seen many extended deadlines. So the recent declaration by the federal government through the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, that telecommunications operators to bar all outgoing calls of all subscribers' identification module cards not yet linked with a national identification number effective from April 4, 2022. ICT experts agreed with government insistence on barring incoming calls for defaulters.
The person that banned the outgoing call will also receive, we also ban the incoming calls. It's also going gradually. It's the same principle that just serve as a yellow card. After yellow card and you did not do what you are supposed to do, it will end up in red card, and that's out of it, and that's the way to go.
They analyzed that the issue of insecurity can be effectively tackled with a linkage.
If you are linked to the NIN, it means the federal government have your database. So if anything happens, it means it will be easier to contact you or to get you, or if there is any benefit from the federal government.
And at the same time, we shouldn't forget the fact that the security situation of the country is nothing to write home about. And most of the security issues that have been documented have been linked to this issue of communication, which has to do with monitoring, surveillance around the kind of communication gadget being used, the kind of the numbers, the kind of registrations that these perpetrators are being using. So we need to balance the whole thing as much as we want to curb some of these associated risks.
Aside from fighting insecurity, there are other benefits attached to the linkage of SIM and NIN.
And also, as we move towards our digital economy, it's going to even help ourselves. Let's even leave the government out of it. Transacting businesses, you don't want to pay to somebody who is anonymous. And now businesses are on internet and digitally. So it has a lot of benefits.
According to NCC, at least 72.8 million subscribers risk being disconnected from telecommunication services following the latest directive. Ronke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
Meanwhile, a total of 73 million active mobile lines in Nigeria will not be making calls from today. This follows the federal government's directive to telecommunications companies to restrict outgoing calls on unlinked mobile lines following the expiration of the extension for the integration of the National Identification Number (NIN) and the Subscriber Identification Module (SIM) on March 31, 2022. The directive was contained in a joint statement issued yesterday by the Director of Public Affairs of the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), Dr. Ikechukwu Adinde, and the Head of Corporate Communications of the National Identity Management Commission (NIMC), Kayode Olagoki. They said the directive took effect from midnight on Monday, April 4. According to the statement, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Ali Pantami, reported that during the exercise, over 125 million SIM cards had so far had their names submitted for immediate linkage, verification, and authentication. Similarly, NIMC had issued over 78 million unique NINs till date. The Ogun State government has warned the teeming public to ignore any form of calls from individual groups or organizations in the name of helping to fund government facilities or projects. This warning is coming in the wake of a message making rounds in the social media wherein a group under falsehood is soliciting donations for the reconnection of the state hospital OTA to the national grid and daily procurement of diesel to power its generating set. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, who sounded this note of warning while addressing newsmen in Abeokuta, said the state hospital OTA is not owing the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company IBDC and was never disconnected from the national grid. She explained that the hospital has always been on 11 kVA transformer with a regular payment of 500,000 naira on a monthly basis to IBEDC, and efforts are being made to connect it to 33 kVA transformer to enhance more hours of power supply and reduce the amount expended on fueling the generating set. The Commissioner asked members of the public to ignore the request for funds to power the hospital's generating set, saying that the government will not go so low to the level of asking a group to help it raise funds into a personal account. Also speaking, the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Taufik Shomade, explained that a group approached the facility with the interest to help in any area of challenge, and they have been told to channel their request to hospital's management board to specify where they want to support. Dr. Shomade said arrangement has been concluded with IBEDC to connect the hospital to the 33 kVA transformer, assuring that all will be sorted out within few weeks. Ogun State Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Mr. Olaolu Olabinton, has said the present administration will continue to involve the citizenry in the preparation of government's yearly expenditure, putting into consideration principles of citizens budgeting, which entails popular participation, transparency, accountability, accessibility, and simplicity for effective service delivery. The Commissioner said this in Abeokuta at a 4-day technical advisory training organized by the state government in collaboration with the World Bank and its affiliates in the area of budgeting, noting that the training was conceived to improve the capacities of budget officers in the preparation of budget templates, citizens' engagement, as well as government's continued interaction with citizens on budget information. Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mrs. Olufunmilayo Dada, the Commissioner pointed out that the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led administration accords high premium to training and retraining of staffers for efficient and quality service delivery, maintaining that the technical advisory training would afford the participants the capacity to provide physical and virtual training on relevant details affecting citizens' budgeting. He called on the budget officers to adopt the principles of citizens' budgeting, which allows for popular participation and people's involvement in the preparation of government's yearly spending.
The vision, the man that always That is your image of the state. It is a collective responsibility of all of us.
Appreciating the facilitators, Mr. Olabinton admonished the participants to take advantage of the meeting while demonstrating the good qualities the state is known for among its peers. In his presentation, the Program Manager, Center for Social Justice, Abuja, Mr. Eze Oyekpere, while speaking on the fundamentals and nature of citizens' budget, described budgeting as an economic, political, and human rights process made by the elected representatives of the people with the support of civil servants in the state, putting into consideration the principles of accountability, transparency, simplicity, accessibility, and popular participation. Also, in the paper titled Ideal Content of a Citizen Budget, a development strategist, Mr. David Oyinche, said there was need to change the narrative on the ideal content required in the citizens' budget by ensuring that the relevant sections of the budget are embedded in a concise manner. The Adare Market Week, organized by the Office of the First Lady of Ogun State, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, in conjunction with Ajoshi Foundation, will hold from Thursday 7th to Saturday 9th April 2022. A statement by the Permanent Secretary, Bureau of Service Matters, Daunsi Ogunleye, has it that the event will hold at the June 12 Cultural Center, Kuto, Abeokuta. The statement adds that Adare Market Week will be an extensive showcase of Adare from Abeokuta to the world, and also empower and train women on ways to make Adare and its business more competitive and attractive, positioning them for better opportunities, stressing that the state is critically central to the deep history of the tie and dye production and its marketing. The Minister of State for Education, Mr. Emeka Nwajoba, has said striking university workers, including the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, the Joint Action Committee of the Senior State Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SHANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Education, NASU, and associated institutions are mean and wicked for shutting down universities across the country. This is just as the ASU strike enters its 50th day on Tuesday. The unions are currently on strike over failure by the federal government to honor the various agreements reached with them. Nwajoba said it was an act of wickedness for the unions to go on strike for entitlements that the government will still give them. The minister said government is negotiating with the polytechnics and colleges of education, and the same thing ASU is asking for is the same thing they are asking for, but they are willing to continue working. The renegotiation committee has always been constituted. The only departure is in the willingness of ASU, SHANU, and NASU to continue working while the same entitlements are on. The responsibility and challenge of caring for visually impaired persons cannot be overemphasized, as sighted individuals need to understand their difficulties, recognize their abilities, and learn how to cooperate and communicate with them. This was a submission of Nigerians who spoke with OGTV News on the challenges of visually impaired persons in the society. Margaret Okunlola has the details.
Worldwide, between 300 million and 400 million people are visually impaired due to various causes. Of this group, approximately 50 million people are totally blind, unable to see light in either eye. 80% of blindness occurs in people over 50 years old. Contrary to the general belief, the term blindness means the inability to see despite wearing glasses. Anyone who has access to glasses and sees well with the glasses cannot be termed blind. The focus, however, is not on this, but on the challenges being faced by the visually impaired persons in the society.
The first impression they have about a blind person, they see the white cane before they see you. They see you as someone that has come to beg. The challenge of moving from one point to the other. Challenges of who to marry. What are the response of the in-laws to our people? You know, these are challenges. Challenges of where to work. Challenges of association. Challenges of even being included in political governance.
Blindness, according to an ophthalmologist, Dr. Tony Onobolu, has been stereotyped and labeled by sighted people and has thus affected the acceptance of visually impaired persons in the society.
Blind people can do things on their own. You may not see, but they may not see, but they are intelligent. And if they can hear, that is good. What we should do now is to make sure that when they are trained, they are given jobs to do. Most people ignore blind people that are qualified. They think they cannot do anything, but they can.
As the popular saying goes, disability is not inability. Coping with vision loss can be regarded as a brave thing, even at any age, which should not be underestimated.
The society needs to realize that we are part of the community, we are part of the larger community, and we can contribute to the development of this community. I mean Ogun State and Nigeria at large, if given that opportunity. What we need is not sympathy, it's empathy.
What we are saying is that don't see the case, don't see the blindness, but see the humanity, see the human right issue. This person that has come to you has equal right to be educated, equal right to relate, to interact, to associate with people.
There are various causes of blindness, but are primarily age-related eye diseases, ranging from age-related macular degeneration, cataract, diabetic retinopathy to glaucoma. Margaret Okunlola, OGTV News.
Still ahead, INEC warns parties against violation of Electoral Act election timelines. Details when we return.
Nigerian Internet Registration Association, NIRA, has nominated Ogun State Television, OGTV, in the Best Electronic Media Websites TV category for the 2022.ng award. We implore our teaming viewers and the general public to vote for Ogun State Television by logging on to NIRA website on nira.org.ng/NG Awards 2022/voting. Enter your email address, then scroll to Best Electronic Media Websites Television and click on Ogun State TV to cast your vote. Awards voting portal closes at midnight Sunday, 10th April 2022. OGTV, your preferred Best Electronic Media website.
Welcome back. The Ogun State government has warned against haphazard development of buildings and structures across the state, saying that the state government is ready to enforce the existing building laws and to bring back sanity to the building sector. The State Commissioner for Urban and Physical Planning, Tunji Odunlami, gave the hint in Abeokuta, the state capital, while addressing residents of Shidipon Estate in Obafemi Owode local government area, where about 50 structures, including fences, were demolished by the state government for violating building approval and regulations. From the facial looks and the inscriptions of the placards, the protesting residents of this community are not happy about 50 houses and other structures that were demolished by the state government in their community for not obtaining building approval and permit.
So we have been in a meeting with them and we have an agreement, but they just came sudden without any notice to demolish our property, the property of my people. And
we try as much as possible. They put the life of our people into danger. Some are still in the bush as I'm talking to you. Some are being hospitalized now as a result of that demolition. So it caused a lot of disaster. But we don't want to fight governments. And we are not ready to fight any government official. That's why we decided today to come and see His Excellency just to express our feeling.
While demanding a high level of cooperation and understanding from critical stakeholders, Town Planner Odulami, however, assured that applications for building and approvals now take 7 days. This, he said, is part of the deliberate effort at ensuring ease of doing business in the state.
The city, and you cannot allow it because of excision for it to be developed into slum. There are private layers around the place, so we encourage them to prepare layout so that we can approve the buildings for them according to the layout. And we are in agreement that until the layout is finished, there will be no development because people are doing illegal development. That's what we saw. That was why we went to do that.
The commissioner, while refuting suspicion by residents of a ploy to play a fast one on them by giving out the land in question to highest bidder, however, said that a layout is being developed for the area which residents have to comply with after an approval has been granted. The federal government has detected over 1,500 workers who joined the federal civil service with fake appointment letters in the past year. Over 1,000 culprits were said to have been discovered in one ministry, while 500 others found in other ministries, departments and agencies during a service-wide verification exercise will be delisted from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, made this known in a keynote address at the National Policy Dialogue on Entrenching Transparency in Public Office Recruitment in Nigeria, organized by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission in Abuja on Tuesday. The head of service explained that her administration has taken decisive steps to nip in the bud the alarming sharp practices and acts of impunity being perpetrated on the IPPIS, as well as to purge the system of all infiltrations. According to her, the government's effort to stop financial leakages in the civil service had created a gap leading to a series of implementation issues, adding that as of March 2022, over 380,000 officers had been captured on the IPPI's payroll, comprising 66,000 and 320,000 for core and non-core MDAs, respectively. Yemieson further said that her office is carrying out a mop-up exercise in the core and non-core MDAs, which will be rounded off in September. Recent survey conducted by the United Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF, revealed that 1 in 6 Nigerians aged 16 to 24 are facing mental health challenge. The global body that the survey revealed that Nigerian children and young people were among the most pressured to succeed globally. Gbenga Adekoya in this report sought the opinion of Nigerians on how true the report is.
The future of Nigeria belongs to its children and young people, and they have the right to be heard, have their needs addressed, and their solutions explored. A recent survey conducted by the United Nations Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF, revealed that 1 out of 6 Nigerian children are facing mental health challenge. How true is this report? And what is the way out?
We cannot say the story is completely true, because it's not in all cases that you find people that are young Nigerians that are mentally unstable. And if there are few ones that you see, it's more or less what you see all over the world. There are so many things that could make people to be mentally unstable. If one is coming from bad parental home, if one has a low esteem, If a child or a young guy has a low esteem, if he has challenges, he will not be able to talk out.
So if this has come out of a survey that was conducted with about 21,000 people and in 21 states, countries, then honestly, it's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched. Now, somebody might beat their chest and say, it's not true, it's political, it's this, it's that. But the truth is that, like I would say, there's no smoke without fire. So instead of reacting, instead of contesting it, I think we should be looking into the system to find solution to the issues we have on ground.
According to UNICEF, as much as 85% of those surveyed said they feel a great pressure to succeed than their elders, making Nigeria the highest of all 21 countries surveyed, with young people in Lebanon as a close second.
I actually think that the reports that 1 in 6 Nigerian kids and youths are depressed by the UNICEF in conjunction with Gallup, I actually think that is being underreported because, one, I don't think the report even captures kids that are not in school, so kids that cannot even respond to the questions that are being asked. Because I mean, it's not just kids that fail WAEC or fail JAMB or even have issues with their final year in the universities or polytechnics that are, that we see in news every time being violent or being depressed or committing suicide. It is also artisans.
Respondents said it is only through commitment to understanding and investing more on the children and young people's present and future that the nation can maximize every child's potential and ensure they have a full and happy life. They submitted that it is essential for the voices of children and young Nigerians to be heard, stating that the survey had helped the government to know what is on the ground and find a lasting solution to it.
Ahead of next year's general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has warned political parties in the country against violation of electoral timelines as well as provisions of the new Electoral Act 2022 as amended, noting that it had on Saturday, 26 February 2022, released the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general election. The electoral umpire said it will stick to the timelines and also monitor political parties' primaries. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of its Information and Voter Education Committee, Barrister Festus Okoye, in the statement said the timetable provides detailed activities including the conduct of primaries, nomination of candidates by political parties, and other activities leading to the presidential and National Assembly elections slated for Saturday, 25th February 2023, followed by the governorship and state assembly elections on Saturday, 11th March 2023. INEC added that candidates for the 1,491 constituencies for which elections will be conducted in 2023 must emerge from democratic, transparent, and valid primaries in line with the provisions of Sections 29 and 84 of the Electoral Act 2022. It added that primaries must be conducted in the various constituencies as provided in Section 84 of the Electoral Act, as it is a violation of the law to conduct primaries outside the constituencies for which parties are nominating candidates. The Nigerian Senate has extended the implementation of the capital component of the 2021 budget. The bill presented by the leader of the Senate, Yahya Abdullahi, is to extend the implementation from 31st March to 31st May 2022. This is to ensure that all existing projects are fully funded and contractors paid, and to achieve 100% implementation of the 2021 Appropriation Act. The Senate has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to, as a matter of urgency, declare a full-fledged war on the unscrupulous elements tagged terrorists who engage in massive killing and wanton destruction of property in Niger State in particular and Nigeria in general. The Senate on Tuesday at plenary observed a minute's silence in honor of those killed in a recent bandit attack in Goni, Munya local government area of Niger State, resulting in boat mishap. The upper chamber has also directed the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to immediately provide relief materials and medical teams to the surviving victims. In his presentation, Senator Musa, who came under Order 42 of the Senate Standing Order, as amended, said that the Senate notes that a boat conveying residents of Guni town capsized in Guni Zumba River, killing about 20 persons escaping attacks by bandits in Niger State. Also, victims, including women and children from Guni in Muyan local government area, were said to have lost their lives. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has reiterated the commitment of the Nigerian Army to deal with all forms of insecurity confronting the country. General Yahya gave the assurance at a one-day seminar on intensifying warrior efforts organized by the Army Headquarters, Department of Transformation and Innovation on Tuesday in Abuja. Represented by the Chief of Policy and Plans Army, Major General Anthony Omozoge, the GWAS said the volatile and complex security emergencies facing the nation had necessitated the continuous review of the national security architecture to contain the threats. He said, although the varied acts of insurgency, terrorism, kidnapping, and banditry and other terrorist organizations had continued to pose substantive threats to the nation, the troops had continued to respond assiduously to contain and decimate all adversaries in line with his maiden message on assumption of office that all adversaries of Nigeria must be defeated decisively. According to him, sustaining and insisting on a winning mentality must be inculcated into all troops. General Yahya said the seminar was designed to consolidate the initial gains of the first edition and provide an avenue for wider participation and academic contribution towards enhancing warrior ethos. He urged participants to make conscious efforts to glean good ideas from the seminar, saying it will impact positively in galvanizing troops to optimal performance. The current security challenges facing the nation will be resolved when all stakeholders come together and ensure the right thing is done to address the root cause of the problem. Stakeholders on the issue of security and others made this submission while bearing their minds on the challenge of insecurity and the way out.
From banditry and kidnapping in the northwest, Boko Haram terrorism in the northeast, kidnapping in the south-south, gunmen attacks in southeast, and kidnapping, court clashes, and ritual killings in southwest, security agencies seem to have been stretched thin across the country.
I was in the police. I served for over 3 decades, and for over a period of time, what we met where we came into service, we didn't see any major improvement on what we saw when we came in. So it is a question, it's like a downward movement.
When Boko Haram started in the northeast, I think, people were saying it is politically motivated, it is this, that, without looking at the global picture.
It's getting to a stage where we have to take our business into our own hands now. What do I mean? The first thing is that you have to secure yourselves. Take charge of your own security.
As the security architecture of the nation continues to burst at the seams, the need for all to put heads together for solutions to the problem becomes expedient.
The federal government said they have dossier on those that are sponsoring Boko Haram. Up till now, the names are not out and prosecutions are not being made. Go to our correctional centers. You have hundreds of condemned criminals whose death warrants have not been signed.
Heavy investment has gone into buying attack gunships, helicopters, arms and ammunition, fighter jets, and the likes. So it's not as if we've not invested. Now, the challenge has been the consideration.
Stakeholders in security also speak on the recent security challenges in Ogun State and what should be done to find a lasting solution to it.
Joint operations have been carried out. There are some that were done by individual agencies, including the Amotekun operatives. By and large, I think quite a number of them have been arrested, relocating from the state. But we have their dossier. We are following them up, and we're going to fish them out wherever they are.
You can see that the sudden wave in the issue of courts in recent time has to do with the time that the ASU people went on strike. The ASU people have now given notice that they also want to join them. So thousands of these students will be let loose on the streets.
Though opinions differ on the way out of the problem, there is need for something urgent to be done before it is too late. Matthew Shoumi, OGTV News.
Ogun State Police Command has arrested no fewer than 22 cultists in different parts of the state. The arrested cultists, who confirmed their membership of Aye and Eye confraternities, were apprehended when the squad stormed their hideouts at Mayas in Lafenwa and Ujogbara in Shakmon area of Abeokuta. According to the police public relations officer, Abimbola Uyeyemi, said a special squad formed in respect of this carried out the operation. Commissioner of Police CP Lanre Bankole appealed to members of the public to always cooperate with the team by giving them necessary information that will enhance their operation, as security is everybody's business.
Have been arrested across the state. Their hideout was stormed. They have their hideout at a place they call Mayas in Lafenwa. They have another hideout at a place called Ujogbara in Shakwan area. There's another place in Shagamu. They call that place Bamboo. All those areas has been properly combed, and the 22 members of different court groups has been arrested, and they are helping us in our investigation. So we are still going after the rest of them. We are not going to rest until the last of them is arrested, because enough is enough. We cannot fold our hands. Why some people who are not, who are bad elements, we continue making life unbearable for good citizens of Ogun State. So the operation is still ongoing, and whenever we conclude this first phase of the operation, we are going to make their faces known to members of the public before we charge them to court. Then we will continue, because no stone is going to be left unturned until we get the state rid of all these criminal elements.
The closing ceremony of the Batch A Stream 2 orientation course holds on Thursday, 7th April 2022. Venue is NYC Orientation Camp, Shagamu, Ogun State, starting at 9 in the morning. Next is business news with Dominic Agbea. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed the conviction that Nigeria is on the way to becoming Africa's fertilizer powerhouse, granting audience to the executive committee members of the Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria. The president said already the country is a global player in the urea space.
Every nation to have peace and prosperity, its economy must be inclusive.
For Nigeria, a predominantly agrarian nation, President Buhari said having an inclusive economy meant prioritizing the enhancement of the nation's agricultural value chain, and with fertilizer being an indispensable input towards achieving food security. Various interventions, including the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, have been developed to support the fertilizer industry so as to make the commodity available and accessible to farmers.
How successful our policies are is the fact that we had no shortage of fertilizers during the COVID lockdowns. Today, I am pleased to hear that we will not have any shortages in Nigeria because of the Eastern European conflicts that has impacted the global fertilizer trade. All these trends indicate our backward integration policy was the right policy.
In the last 5 years, over 114 billion naira has been injected into the fertilizer industry, thereby significantly increasing the number of blending plants from 7 operating at 10% of the installation capacity to 70%.
Nigeria is definitely a player in the urea space. I would therefore like to thank members of the Fertilizer Producers Association once again of this very patriotic backward integration project. Through these investments, you are double blessed as you are making profits and bring prosperity to millions of Nigerians working in the agricultural value chain.
For the Association of Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers of Nigeria, its success in climbing to the next level is openly evident by the number of factories commissioned and also by the many pyramids of rice, maize and other crops dotting the landscape.
Many nations who rely on fertilizer import are facing acute fertilizer shortage. Nigeria remains one of the few countries in Africa and indeed the world where fertilizer availability is not an issue. Mr. President, for the 2022 wet season, I would like to declare to you and all Nigerians that
On to other stories now. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has described the Dangote Petroleum Refinery as a project that will revolutionize the petroleum industry in not only Nigeria, but the rest of Africa by extension. Speaking during a media tour of the 650,000 barrels per day, $19 billion facility at Ibeju, Lekki, Lagos, Mohammed said the refinery would be a game changer once it is fully operational. The minister, who also went on tour of the $2.5 billion Dangote fertilizer plant, said the refinery's operations will significantly boost Nigeria's gross domestic product. Speaking on the economic potentials of the recently launched Dangote fertilizer plant, Mohammed said prior to the inauguration of the present administration, Nigeria had a fertilizer shortfall of about 3.5 million tons per annum. As Nigerians continue to feel the impact of terrorist attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train, amounting to loss of lives, injuries and abduction, the Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association of Nigeria, FACAN, has resolved to transport agro-products with cargo train. The president of FACAN, Dr. Victor Iyama, said railroad of transportation remains the reliable means of addressing post-harvest losses, as 55% of food produced in Nigeria is wasted, which boils down to high prices of food items. Iyama said there is nothing the body can do
ordered and encouraged food production, saying they are producing a lot of food, but 55% goes to waste without funding for preservative warehouses. He affirmed that the body has the technology to build such warehouses, but it takes funding because funding is key to production. And that's the size of the business segment of the news. I hand you back for the continuation of the news.
Thank you, Dominic. We now take some foreign news. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, in his speech to the United Nations Security Council, outlined a list of alleged Russian atrocities, which included killings of civilians. Peru has imposed curfew in 2 cities of Lima and Callao following protests over rising fuel and fertilizer costs. Let's join Damilola Odetola for more on the world today.
On the world today, President Volodymyr Zelensky has demanded that Russia faces accountability, saying it should be brought before an international tribunal similar to that held of Nuremberg after World War II. The massacre in Bucha is only one example of many of what Russia has been doing in the past 41 days, Zelensky says. The world is yet to learn the full truth. He adds, with Russia's military openly looting villages they have captured. Zelensky also questions Russia's role within the UN, saying the invasion undermines the whole architecture of global security. He calls on the Council to throw Russia out as a member of the Security Council. He says if the Council cannot find a way to help restore Russia's action in Ukraine, it should dissolve because it proves there is nothing you can do besides conversation. Peruvian President Pedro Castillo has imposed a curfew in 2 Peruvian cities amid mass protests backed by skyrocketing fuel and fertilizer costs. Peru's President Pedro Castillo on Tuesday imposed a curfew in the capital city Lima and the port city of Callao in an attempt to curb ongoing protests in the country. People have been demonstrating against rising fuel and fertilizer costs brought on by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Authorities said the protests have erected roadblocks and carried out acts of violence as toll boats were burned, shops were looted, and some demonstrators clashed with police. Protesters had also set fires to tires and blocked the Pan-American highway, Peru's most important north-south transport and traffic route. At least 4 people have been killed, the government said.
That was the world today. Hakeem Akintunde is standing by for sports news.
Welcome to the sports segment of the news. Team up from the world of golf, 5-time champion Tiger Woods is planning to play in this week's Masters just 14 months after suffering life-threatening injuries in a car crash. Woods will play 9 holes on Wednesday before confirming the decision. But in a news conference at Augusta National on Tuesday, the American said, as of right now, I'm going to play. African football boss Patrice Motsepe is reassured and satisfied with the progress Ivory Coast has made as the country prepares to host the 2023 African Cup of Nations. Confederation of African Football President Motsepe visited Abidjan on Monday to assess readiness for the tournament, which is scheduled to take place in June and July next year. Ivory Coast, which last hosted the Nations Cup in 1984, is building or renovating 6 stadia for the competition. Motsepe, who met Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara on a trip to the West African country, has said there are several areas where organization can improve on the 2021 edition, which was held in Cameroon at the start of this year. Still on the continent, defending champions El Ahly will face 3-time winners Raja Casablanca of Morocco in the quarterfinals of the African Champions League later this month. Egyptian El Ahly club are chasing a 3rd consecutive Champions League title and a record extending 11th triumph in the competition. South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns, one of the 2 sides to go unbeaten through this group stage, have been paired with Angolan side Petro de Luanda in the last 8. The remaining 2 quarterfinal ties see Esperance of Tunisia face Algerian clubs Es Setif and Morocco's Wydad Casablanca paired with CR Belouizdad of Algeria. Mohamed Salah intends to sign a new deal at Liverpool, says Egypt Sports Minister Ashraf Sobhi. Sobhi said he advised Salah 29 to leave Anfield, only for the Egyptian forward to say he was likely to extend a contract that runs until June 2023. Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp said he was happy with progress on a new deal. Recent reports claim Salah is close to agreeing a 4-year deal worth £400,000 per week in wages, having compromised on salary in exchange for longer terms. Burkina Faso captain Bertrand Traoré says it is a privilege to be managed by former Liverpool and England midfielder Steven Gerrard at Aston Villa. Gerrard, 41, took over the Premier League club in November following 3 years with Scottish giants Rangers. In a playing career spanning 19 years, Gerrard won 9 trophies with the Reds, including the Champions League in 2004-2005. Traore's opportunities under Gerrard had been limited as the forward was recovering from injury when he was appointed as boss. However, the 26-year-old forward believes he has benefited from learning from a man who won 114 caps for England. And Spanish second division club Huesca have terminated the contract of Super Eagles midfielder Kelechi Nwakali. Reports say Huesca confirmed Nwakali's contract termination in a statement released on their official website on Tuesday. It will be recalled that Huesca and Nwakali were at loggerheads after the player reported late to the club from this year's AFCON in Cameroon. Following his late arrival, Huesca opened up disciplinary proceedings against the 23-year-old, which saw the Spanish Players Union accusing the lower division club of committing procedural breaches in the handling of the case. Nwakali claimed he missed Nigeria's second-round clash against Tunisia at the AFCON due to illness, and also stated that the doctor who treated him advised him not to fly and to keep testing until his symptoms cleared. The Players Union claimed the player notified Huesca about the development. Thanks for watching. That was Sports Update. Back to Yabo.
Thank you, Akim. We shall now serve you weather forecast. And now to our parting shot. No matter how hard today is, remember you will never have to do this day again. You can watch us live on these platforms: Apple, Roku, Facebook, and Android devices. Make sure to visit OGTV website to watch us live on www.ogtv.com.ng/live or email info@ogtv.com.ng. And just before we end the news, a quick look at the top stories one more time. Ogun State government has warned members of the public over unsolicited financial message. The federal government has partially deactivated 72 million telephone lines over non-compliance with SIM name linkage. The Senate has extended the 2021 budget implementation from March 31 to May 31, 2022. Nigeria is set to become top fertilizer producer in Africa. And on the foreign scene, we told you that Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has addressed the United Nations Security Council, alleging killings of civilians by Russia. That was the news. Thanks for watching. Do have our best wishes. It's bye for now.
Sam Hotel and Suites, VFS Suites, a place of spectacular standard known for quality service delivery. Our hotel equipped with state-of-the-art facilities with 20